The Alice event is about to come to an end, and I'm here to kind of have a look at how this event has transcribed, specifically with the relics. This is the first event where they had like an exclusive event relic, and I've been tracking some data. You know me, I do love a spreadsheet, I do love a tracker, and I've got some information that we're going to do to have a look at what is the... I basically want to know how good this event was going to be for those relics, but we're also going to have a little look at the characters, the champions, and have a look at kind of like how it's felt, how it's gone along, and kind of like where we go from here in terms of these sort of special events, event dungeons, and so forth. So it's been about 3 months. We've had, you know, an event dungeon that's about to come to an end. I'm recording this Saturday, so I think the event ends on like the 5th or the 6th, so it's going to end in about 4 days. I've been collecting my relic materials. I haven't summoned a single relic because I wanted to do it at an end of video. I wanted to do a big kind of end of summoning event. And honestly, I would say it's been a pretty successful event. I think Alice as a champion, we used it in the free-to-play, has been highly successful. I think she was really, really good. She gave you lockout. She also gave you good damage. I think pretty much everyone on the free-to-play would agree that Alice was a great starter champion. And I think, you know, for the most part, Mad Hatter has been a pretty good fusion that we had with this event, right? We've had a couple of now with Asgard and Thor. Thor was quite good. We had the Monster Hunter where Rathalos was extremely good, and we had a pretty good fusion with Xenogray that solved a finite problem. Most of these events so far have been pretty successful, and I think Mad Hatter and Alice as the two free, I say one free and one semi-free because the fusion you still have to do, have been pretty good. You know, this is a great champion. Specifically, this ability has helped a lot of people in Hydra to do a lot more damage. So I think those two champions have been great. Now let's take a look at some of this, what I would say some of the negative champions, which is I don't particularly think the Knave of Hearts was all that good. I think he looks better than he actually is. You know, we've got an A1 that places a Provoke. I mean, we have Wixwell that can do it 100%. We've got people like Islin that was a fusion. We have lots of Provoke A1 champions now. I don't think that was particularly exciting. We have this ability here where he can place an Unkillable and a Taunt on himself. You know, this is a little bit like Emic. I feel like a bit of Emic. And I don't feel like this was as good, but it's an okay ability. And then we have a HP transfer, which is a little bit like Mother Sibel in terms of aspects. So they've kind of taken essentially kits from all different champions, but I don't particularly think anything about him is actually all that unique. Like, yes, okay, this is kind of cool that he restores his max HP and he destroys enemy max HP, but I just don't think he's all that exciting. I think he's probably the worst of the bunch. Then we have actually the Void Legendary. I think Queen of Hearts has some interesting mechanics. She has a brand new debuff, Death Brand. Right, Death Brand here. You can always go into this list and see what everything does. There's actually a lot of unique debuffs now that, you know, like things like Necrosis that are coming on champions. All really Death Brand is block revive. It doesn't do anything more or any less functionality other than being a delayed block revive. You put it on, if you die, you get block revived. Okay, that's the same as when Volcanos kills you and you have HP burn, you get block revived. There's nothing special about this. It's not like I would be wanting to get this champion because Death Brand is really, really good. It's not like Odin's debuff where it actually is something that you can't get. Like you take 50% more damage, deal 50% more. It's a unique thing. Death Brand is just block revive. This is great. Remove all buffs, place it, then place True Fear, and fill the turn meter for every buff. It's a solid ability. Very strong ally attack because it reduces this cooldown. And we also have this passive that grants her an extra turn. But I'll be honest, it's nowhere near as powerful as Odin. 3 reasons why. Odin has a 40% Void Aura for Arena. That gives him an immediate power curve in Arena that no other champion has because it's 10% or like 7% higher than the highest Aura in Arena. So it's already like hugely more powerful. He also has an A3 that is multipliers based on the target. So you can build him with low damage, or you can build him with sort of low base stats, or you can just build him with no stats at all and do max HP damage at bosses. Great for PvE, all these different things. And his passive is annoying. It's a block damage. This passive here might frustrate you and allow you to cut in, but it's easily avoidable. You can't really avoid Odin's passive because it just keeps putting block damage out and it's really frustrating to fight. Those 3 reasons puts Odin in a different tier. She's a good champion. I would be happy to get her, but I'm not feeling the same chase vibe. And then I think actually the best champion of the bunch is probably the Cheshire Cat. I was a bit down on him when he first came out because he felt like a bit of an upgraded Razelvarg, but I've seen a lot of creators do a lot of powerful work. I think it's more the combination of everything. Because you get 15% ignore defense, 15% more damage when you're under a veil, and he can veil himself, and you get an AoE A1, that always places a perfect veil on himself. You put that into Hydra, it's incredibly powerful. He can also stack up his speed. He's doing a speed multiplier. So if you can abuse speed, like put him up to 300-400 speed, put a speed buff on him, put an attack buff on him, put a perfect veil buff on him. If you get the relic that gives you more damage whilst under perfect veil, he's a perfect candidate for the Scroll of the Unseen, right? Because you're going to give essentially damage bonus while they're under a veil as allies take a turn, right? So he's a perfect candidate. His attack, his crit damage, and speed. This Scroll of the Unseen is made for Cheshire Cat. That's the one you really want to put on him. It could actually compete quite well with Erethi's Comet. You could make an argument that Erethi's Comet is going to give you more consistency, right? Erethi's Comet is going to basically give you 30% damage if you place a debuff. But he himself, as far as I remember, I'm just going to double check this because there are so many champions in Raid Shadow Legends now, it's often hard to keep track. I don't think he ever places a debuff. So he's not able to use Erethi's Comet or Nature's Wrath. So you absolutely will go for that banner. That banner is super good on him, and that's where you can get some bonus. I think you put those together. The other option is, of course, you can go Cat's Gaze. That's the natural option. You get 20% ignore defense, more damage. The point I'm trying to make is it's the combination of things that make him do a lot of damage because of this 15% plus an era bonus plus artifact sets. You can get to true damage. And if you're A1 true damaging all the time, that's going to do a lot of damage with a lot of stats. So he is actually, I think, the best of the bunch. I definitely think he was, maybe when I first saw him, a little bit unfair because I just saw him as an upgraded Razzlevarg. And mainly because I'm a bit disinterested in Hydra. And I don't think he's as powerful the moment you take him outside of Hydra. I just think he's uniquely strong in Hydra and then a very good champion everywhere else. That's the difference. So champion-wise, again, it feels like they were good. I feel like the Asgardians, I prefer them. I think Freya gave a bit of a gap where if you didn't have a Siphi, Freya's now the next best option for Arena. Odin, I think, was better than Queen of Hearts. I feel like Loki as a free login champion was much worse than Alice. I think Alice is a much better champion. I think Thor may have been a better fusion than Mad Hatter because I think Thor is a little bit better outside of Hydra. But apart from that, I think, that's where I put them. I think generally, I think the Asgards were a little bit better. Now let's get on to Relics. Relics are this is the first time we've had an event with Relics. This relic that they added in Cat's Gaze is the best relic in the game unless you're going to get mythical. That's straight up the answer to the truth. It is the best relic in the game unless you can get a Stormcaller. Why? Because it gives you ignore defense with 2 triangular. Triangular are the damage bonus gemstones. And whilst the Erethi's Comet is super good and shouldn't be ignored, it's only 1 triangular. And I'm specifically talking about damage more than anything else, right? I'm not saying like the Wand of Submission isn't OP or Chrono Cube isn't OP or, some of these others, like the Journal is really, really good for turn meter boosters. The Hand of Uncreation can be really annoying. Those utility ones are great. I'm specifically talking about which relic is going to provide me the most amount of champion damage power. There is nothing better than this Cat's Gaze. It is just universally amazing. It gives you 40% crit damage, attack, and defense. It is going to give you the primary stats. Probably HP champions lose because they don't have a HP, but who cares? You get 40% crit damage and 20% ignore defense. I really should start talking about relics not at rank 5 or rank 6 though, because we all know like trying to get a rank 5 or rank 6 relic is ridiculously impossible. You can't even whale yourself there. It's really, really hard. They need to do something about that pretty quickly because we're getting so many relics, like new relics and unique relics, that we are not really getting the same level of materials to upgrade them. Right, my entire account, I've been doing Chimera on the highest difficulty. I've been chasing these events. I wouldn't be able to make a rank 6 relic right now. And it's been 3 months for 1 character. So we really need to improve that. That's something that you need to do. So really what you're looking at is like 14% ignore defense. That is still insanely strong. So the relics were great. Hatter's Reserve was not terrible, but it was also not insane. It's a bit like a hybrid kind of thing where you can be a bit tanky or a bit damaged. Good for someone that maybe is like a HP damage dealer. I would say is pretty solid. And of course, we were getting these materials from the events. Pretty much what they were doing is they gave some guarantees. We got 2 guaranteed Cat's Gaze. The Hero's Path is terrible. The other one was the Titan event was pretty good. The Titan event, I think, was pretty accessible for most players. The Hero's Path is obnoxiously expensive. And then, of course, you have to win every tournament. They did put some rewards, which were great, especially the training, but you've had to win a lot. So let me show you the math that I've been tracking. I've been tracking every single event. I may have missed 1 or 2, but I'm pretty sure I've tracked every single event in which you could get these relic masks since the start of the event, because I wanted to see how much are they going to give us. What is the economy of relic masks? That was what I really wanted to know. Okay, so this is my tracker. This is what I did. I basically tracked every tournament, every event, and I tracked every relic, every material that I earned, and I also tracked my tournament placement on average. I even tracked my spending beyond the gem pack. I don't consider the gem pack, but any pack that I bought because I wanted to chase something, I considered all of this spending into these numbers, and I calculated how much materials I would earn. That's what I did. Okay, and I missed some placements. You'll see there were some tournaments here that I forgot to track, you know, where I was placed. But on average, I've got a placement of every different thing and what we could get. So, you know, how many different events have we got? We had loads of different options here. So we had, you know, 7 arena. Arena only gave us rares. That should actually be 75 rares. Look at that. There you go. Got a bit of a data entry is never easy. Arena tournaments, they just gave us rares. They didn't give us anything else. We just got those. Then we had like champion chases. We had 4 champion chases. We were getting legendary and epic on these. So I generally earned a few things. You can see I earned on the first one because I placed 4th, 100 legendary, but I still lost 75 because I think on the champion chase you could get some on the side and then you could win like 100 or 75 like that. So it's a combination of the two. Epic and legendary here. The epic materials I got, but I was missing a lot. So we could see I actually, you know, I lost about 400. I lost about near enough 4 to 5 summons from this. I actually bought 1 pack for this here. And then we tracked that across here. Champion training wise, we had 3 champion training events, but we had some heroes paths. Again, we missed out on some of these 50 masks here. So you can see I've tracked them all across the board. We had some Deck of Fate events, like one of those we had like 50 legendary, 75, 200 rares. I was able to complete that fully. So that's how we did it. Now, what does that really mean? Okay, well, we had 2 guaranteed events. We had a Titan event and we had the recent hero path for Cat's Gaze. And we had 3 epic relics where they did an event dungeon, a Titan event, and a hero's path. Now, I'll be honest, that's a bit lean, right? Like, I've got over 300 champions. 2 Cat's Gazes are not really going to cut it for me, considering these are limited time relics. I can't get them again. They won't come back. That's the problem with these relics. They're like the Monster Hunter events. You know, you can say Nergigante Archer is amazing as much as you want, but once the event is over, you can never get them again. This is the only issue I have. So giving 2 guaranteed is a bit lean, I will be honest. Now, in terms of the materials I've earned, you can see I must have missed 50 materials here. I've got an extra 50 legendary, about 1,050, and I've got sort of 600 rares. So I've missed a few along the way, probably because I picked some up and I haven't tracked it. But this is roughly how much I've earned over these. Now, this is how much I haven't earned. 1,150, 2,575, and 600. So what does that actually mean, though? That means if we combine the two together, how much did we actually have available for us to earn? So taking all these numbers, what do we learn? Well, we can take the values of the legendary, epic, and rares, and what we can do is we can build some combos out, right? I've got this tab here. It's working out the different combinations if I was to do legendary 4, 3, 1 epic, 2, 2, or 1, 3. There's also some other combos we can do, like 1 rare, 2 epics, and 3 legendary, but I've just tried to keep it kind of roughly where I know the answer to, but I'm just doing the math to make sure. So we've got all these different combos. What it basically means, will I use the materials available to me to go 4 Lego, 4 epic, and 4 rare, or will I combine some legendaries and epics and combine some rares and epics? And that's what we're working out. So what we can do is we can basically say, if I was to do the times 4, keeping the same rarity on the same 4 pulls, we'd end up with about 14.5 possible pulls, 35.75 possible epics, and 12 rares. Now you can see the actual probability of getting anything on a sort of epic or rare level is pretty bad, right? On a legendary version, if I pull 14.5 times, it's about a 19.75% chance that I will get a Cat's Gaze. So basically means if I craft 14.5 times, I should walk away with a 2.86 average Cat's Gaze from that summon. I also had 2 guaranteed, so overall the event should be giving me about 5.61 Cat's Gazes. Now you can see if I change the legendary, if I try to go for a 3-1, what that basically means is I could probably do 19 summons on this combo, and then anything left on epic and rare, I will just do as a full 4-piece, right? So for example, we'll do 19 pulls. You can see we'd be left over with quite a lot of epics. So we're just basically calculating the probability as if I was to put all my remaining epics into a 4 epic pull. That is not as good as doing just a straight legendary. It's very slight, but it's not as good. If I was to do legendary epic 2, it keeps getting worse. If I was to do epic 1, it keeps getting worse. So as I suspected, the best probability is keeping the same rarity. Now, if I was to go to epic, We get a 5.61 because it's still the same thing. If I was to go epic and try and combine them, we're still getting 14.5 legendaries, 5.38, 5.45. It actually gets better. So it's actually better to combine more of the epics with the rares. But even then, it's still not better than just sticking to 4 epics, 4 legendaries, and 4 rares. So the TLDR here is the sort of combo system's a myth. Stick the same rarities with the same epics, right? This is the kind of spreadsheet here to show that. So what this basically means is if you did everything on the event, on average, you get 5.6. Now, that doesn't mean you're actually true. So what I mean by that is there's a large number of people that I know have got like 7 cat's gazes because they got lucky, right? You can get lucky. But that doesn't mean that you're going to get lucky on everyone. If you were to get every player, on average, they will probably walk away with about 5 if they had every event. Now, if I bring this down to my numbers, right, I've basically got right now, I think 350, about 1,050, I think about 675. So on average, when I summon now, I should be able to, I probably won't get a single cat's gaze on average. On average here, it means I will probably get maybe 1. Out of all of my materials, I will get 1. So we'll see how well we do. These are just averages. They always can high roll or low roll, but it'll be interesting to see how close we are to the math here. The key point to take away from this summary of math is the event didn't give us enough relics. Straight up, they were too punitive. They just didn't give us enough relics. So with that being said, let's craft some relics. I've been looking forward to this. I've collected all the materials. I might pick up a few more here or there, but let's start with the rare. I'm going to craft it all up right now. There's really no point in holding on to them. We're going to do all of them. Let's see where we could get. Okay, so we get a Mask of Rage. First one out. What else are we going to get here? It's kind of annoying. I have to keep selecting them every single time. A Rod of Blasphemy. Okay, what else have we got? A journal. Journals are actually great. I would like a few more journals. So far, you know, we're only ever going to get the group of the standard group because there is no rare event relics, right? So it'll roll it must roll the sort of relic first or the group. Some questions have been asked about, hey, is it rolling the group first or is it going to roll the rarity? Well, because there's no rare or mythical, it must kind of choose the group and then roll the 2. Or I don't really know how it does it, but essentially if it rolls blue, it's always going to be 100% here. So it's a little bit of a weird probability because it's such a high probability here that rare is always going to do this kind of 83%. Pretty much all these are always going to be rare. Oh, we got a group event. So the first epic, I've got basically one of those. Cool. Now let's do the epic. Let's do the legendaries. So again, it's just better to do these. I will use my last 50 with the 50 epics. I will offset it, right? That's what I'm going to do so that I can get the highest probability. I can't do 4 legendaries, so I'm going to do 3 legendaries plus 50 of the epic because there is no other legendary summons that I can get here, right? This is just going to give me some blues. This is just going to give me some epics, and probably the other thing will give me some epics as well. There's nothing else that's going to give me more legendaries, so we might as well just use the 50 epic materials to offset it. So this is where I'm really hoping for a Cat's Gaze. Oh, we got an Aspect of Siroth. That's kind of bad. So we didn't get a Cat's Gaze there. Next one. This is the best probability. Come on, Cat's Gaze. Yes! We get a Cat's Gaze. So that's 2. I want about 3 or 4. 3 or 4 would be nice. I've only got 1 so far. 1 more chance. Come on. A Wand of Submission. This is really good. I've spoken to a lot of high-end players. We were having debates about this. This is one of the best relics for Arena because it stops you from getting sheep. So we actually hit goal 3 times, which is really good rates. And we got a Demonic. Okay, so now we're going to do the epics. Can we get another Cat's Gaze? Another Aspect of Siroth. Not really what we want here. Can we get another Cat's Gaze? A Journal. Honestly, I have no hope the epic is going to give me anything useful. And Holy Grail. Are we going to get... I think I'm going to have 1 Cat's Gaze. It's going to be pretty painful, I think. 1 Cat's Gaze. Oof. And I know people have walked away with like 7 Cat's Gazes, so... It's just the reality. Like I said, we did the math. We expected about 2. I've had 1 so far. So far, the probabilities are matching up. If I get another one, I got lucky. Demonic Effigy. A Rod of Blasphemy. The last one. Honestly, they need to look at these rates. It's so bad. A Journal. So we might as well use some of these blues. We'll finish this off. But you can see what I mean. Like, this is just worse. And we finish a Diadem. So what did I walk away with on average? Let's see. So we got a Wand. We got some good legendaries. I mean, I've got 3 Aspects of Siroth now. I don't know what I'm going to do with all those. that's kind of crazy. But on average, look, all the journals I got. So great options here we can do some things with. There is a limit of 200 relics, but, you know, that's not really a problem. Then we got 1 Cat's Gaze. So on average, my account has been able to get 2 Cat's Gaze and 3 Mad Hatters. If we go back to the math, this is how we verify the numbers. This is why I wanted to do this. I expected, with my numbers, which was 350, 1050, and I think 675, give or take, that I would have, if I was, and I only had one of the guarantees, that I would get 2. The math checks out, okay? I got 2 Cat's Gaze because I didn't get the other, I haven't done the Hero's Path, and I summoned all my materials. That is the reality of what you've got. So if you walked away with 7 Cat's Gazes, congratulations, you high rolled to an incredible amount, to an absolute incredible amount, because the most anyone should ever get on average is about 5. And I don't think that's enough. If I'm being quite honest, I think that was quite weak, considering these are limited time relics and the power of the relic. But there you go, guys. I'll put a link to this tracker on the guide to this video. I think it's really interesting to see how these events go out. It helps us inform on the next event, because now we can really start saying to players, it's like, hey, we really like these relics being on these events. It's kind of cool. It makes doing dungeon runs a little bit more interesting. It gives me more rewards. We need to double these rates, right? These relics should be more readily available. You're honestly telling me that out of 3 months of grinding, we've got 2. I've got over 200 champions. I could easily want to put Cat's Gaze on like 3 or 4 of them. I can't even get them to rank 6 as it is, and you've given me 2. So I think that's what we need to learn. That's the learnings from this event. The champions were great, not necessarily crazy OP, but they were great. The relics were good, but the distribution was poor. As always, it's very, very punitive. And even if you go and win every event, I'm not talking about just my way that I did it. I didn't really push super hard on events. I'm talking about if you win every single event, you only got the opportunity on average to get about 5. That is not good enough, I think, for the averages. If you got high, I'm sure there'll be a lot of comments that says, this, the math doesn't check out. I got 6 or 7. You got lucky. But there'll be plenty of other players in the comments that I'd imagine that will literally go, this checks out because I barely got any and I pushed hard for my numbers. So anyway, guys, I'm going to end it there. Let me know in the comments below, how have you enjoyed the Alice event? We're coming up to the next event now, which is going to be like an anniversary event, which is always good every single year. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of things they're going to be doing. We'll see how good the fusion is. Hopefully it's not as crazy as our man's. But let me know in the comments below your experience with this event. How did your relic farming go? I'm really curious to see, and I'm hoping to collect some of this feedback, and I'll hopefully give it to people that they can feed it back to Plarium to basically see how we can improve it going forward, because I think it is a good way to do these events, given exclusive artifacts and relics and things like this. That's really fun to do in these events, so long as there's a good opportunity for players to get some, and I don't think these numbers quite hit home. But let me know in the comments below, guys. Thanks so much for watching. As always, have a great day, and I will catch you in the next video.